Yep. I got post-Persona depression. So I played Persona 5 and it crushed me. I find myself lost. I'm floating through space, but mundane space. I mean, why can't I be a Japanese teenager who inherits powers from the gods and challenges those who are vilely corrupt by stealing their hearts? Life is so unfair sometimes. You want the usual context, don't you? Fine.
Hey y'all, hope you're doing well. Editing Corlin here. Wanted to jump in here and give a little warning before the actual video. I'll be talking about themes of depression and other themes around depression. This video is for informational entertainment purposes only. I'm not an expert on this type of stuff, so if you do struggle with depression or have any thoughts of depression, please go and seek professional help. Thank you.
Post-Persona depression, clinically described by the fans, is a feeling one gets after they finish a Persona game. I mean, it can happen to everybody who plays any type of game. Many find themselves lost afterwards. But to disregard my point I just made for the sake of the video, post-Persona depression is a different sickness entirely. Why? Well, I'm glad you... Oh, no. Oh, no. Nope. No video today. I just can't. Why are you here? You're right. I gotta do this. Now, Persona is a spin-off to the Shin Megami Tensei series. The franchise itself is a collection of various role-playing games that all borrow from a similar bucket of reoccurring elements. Demon recruiting, religious overtones, philosophical undertones, stories shaped by player choices, high schools, simple stuff. Persona was co-created by Koji Okada and Kazumi Kaneko, but now directed by Katsuro Hishino. All the games follow a very similar narrative, specifically the last three, with varying themes. You're a silent badass protagonist who gets himself into a new situation, usually moving to a new school. You get gifted the power to harness your inner self, a persona. You find others much like you gather yourself, and you go against the world, usually personified as going into a dungeon, which is formed from the collective unconscious of the hearts of humanity. All the while attending school, getting good grades, hanging out with friends, and getting into wacky hijinks. Going to a maid cafe on Tuesday and battling God on a Wednesday. No big deal. And although I could talk about all of these games and the way they've changed me as a human being, I don't want to lie to you. I played Persona 4 when I was in 8th grade, and although it had a profound impact on me, I thought Wario Land Shake It was just as significant. And Persona 3... Listen, there are too many floors in Tartarus, and I couldn't control my party members. What do you want from me? So we're stuck with Persona 5, and let's not lie to ourselves. What a fantastic game to get stuck with. We've heard it all before. The impressive visuals, the bombastic music, the fluid and streamlined gameplay. It has everything you could want in a video game, and it's not real life. It's not real life. It will never be real life. Ryuji doesn't exist in this world. I can't go play pool with him on a random Sunday. It's all useless. I'll never be able to change the world. How did you even get? You're right. I gotta do it. So now that I've explained what Persona is, let me explain wholly what I mean by post-Persona depression. Depression can be coined by many different people in a multitude of ways, but for the sake of brevity, I'll be using Dr. Aaron T. Beck's definition from the second edition of Depression, Causes, and Treatment. He states that depression may now be defined in terms of the following attributes: a specific alteration in mood, sadness, loneliness, apathy, a negative self-concept associated with self-approaches and self-blame, and regressive and self-punitive wishes, desires to escape, hide, or die. How does that relate to Persona? Well, in my personal opinion, when playing a Persona game, it's not just a quick walk in the park on a sunny afternoon. It is a grind. A Persona game becomes your life. You have to sink at least 100 hours into each game. And the best part about it is, every minute is enjoyable. Persona 5 jam-packs so much into this game that it never is boring. And though this long-time exposure to these characters and the environment you find yourself in, you become attached, fully attached. For a more detailed analysis of this attachment we get, I'd be doing a disservice if I didn't mention Daryl Talks Games video, Post-Game Depression. He goes over it in rather full detail. We form a parasocial relationship with the characters on screen and experience everything along with them, all their conflicts and triumphs. So when it's time for the show to end, we don't want to leave the world. We just want to keep playing with it. In David Leonard's article, Live in Your World, Play in Ours, Race Video Games and Consuming the Other, he states, the interactive nature of video games generates heightened levels of pleasure and excitement, often through the act of occupying dangerous spaces, becoming other-bodied, and living through fantasies and anxieties. And while you can feel an ounce of that energy when playing the game, once it's over, it's over. Jumping back to Beck, when conducting a study, they analyzed that manifestations of depression would come in either low self-evaluation, distorted self-image, or a loss of motivation. These manifestations were cognitive, forming from the self-concepts that people have created of themselves. Beck goes on to say, people's self-concepts are clusters of attitudes about themselves, some favorable and others unfavorable. These clusters consist of generalizations they have made on the basis of interaction with the environment. He goes on to explain that these self-concepts can influence a person's mind fully, and if one of those self-concepts is negative, it can structure multiple self-concepts to be harmful as well. And that's where the depression sinks in for me. I mean, come on, man, look at Joker. Look at how cool he looks, doing those sick flips and moving with such pizzazz. That's the stuff that gets me excited. Dude solving corruption and saving the world, and I'm here making a stupid video about why I'm depressed that I can be nothing like that. It's a chain I've put on myself. A chain of self-doubt that is branded with depression, keeping me shackled from moving forward, imprisoning me in my own negative thoughts. In the grand scheme of things, am I really anybody? Persona 5 allows oneself to flip-flop between regular boring high schooler to Phantom Thief aficionado, who are so smooth they put them in Smash. I want to be in a Smash game. And the way I look at it, it's useless anyways. We're always told about how insignificant we are or how much worse we are than others. With a constant slew of media reinforcing those ideas of not being good enough, how does one not stay depressed? We're always being compared to others, even when we're not trying to. Subconsciously, we put pins in our brain. Not strong enough, not good looking enough, not enough. Which is what I thought until I finished Persona 5. Persona 5 is the antithesis of that very statement. No one is useless. You are perfect just the way you are. You must! Persona 5's main theme, like most of the Persona games, is finding oneself amidst a world that wants to live in falsities. Specifically, Persona 5 deals with freedom and how one attains their own personal freedom by ditching the chains of society and finding their individuality. If you don't believe me, listen to Katsura Hoshino himself. Persona 5, in that sense, is a game about freedom, the kind that these sorts of people haven't had living in the real world. The characters in this game, through sheer force of will, are out to destroy that which suffocates people in today's society, and again, keeps them chained down in place. This quote comes specifically from the teaser image from Persona 5. 5 chairs in a row with balls and chains attached to them, with the words, "You are a slave. Want emancipation?" Symbolizing the nature of the characters, a bunch of outcasts, and their situation, being chained to the society around them. The symbolism of chains is everywhere in Persona 5. When Joker summons Arsene, his tagline persona, there are multiple chains around its body. Whenever entering the Velvet Room, you are greeted by a transition of chains. And the Velvet Room itself is a literal prison. The deeper you travel into Mementos, the more chain-like imagery appears, showing us that this evil place is chained to the world for good. It's rooted in it. For the more metaphorical chains that I talked about earlier in this video, we need look no further than the Persona 5 party. I mean, I know all the Persona casts are pretty weird, but we have an eclectic group of people in this one, and each one of them is chained by the society that surrounds them. Joker, because of his falsely accused assault charge, is seen as a true criminal. Ryuji is deemed a delinquent by not only his teachers, but by his fellow classmates, for his outspoken and brash attitude. An is perceived as an object, known only for her good looks, and seen as a promiscuous flirt. Yusuke is frequently called an odd kid just because of his artistic nature and his unique view of the world. Makoto, being the class president and top of her class, is nothing but a teacher's pet to the other students, a robot with no emotions. Futaba's hermit-like nature showcases her to be a shut-in, afraid of any type of social interaction. And Haru, with her tie to her family's great wealth, is nothing but that. She is an extension of her father's succession, and is used to even further it with an arranged marriage. All of these characters are chained to a societal stereotype due to their base appearance, attitude, or a specific event in their past. When going through the game, we see them all succumb to these preconceived notions, letting the chains swallow them whole. And then, Persona 5 does the best thing it could ever do. It shows us their Persona awakenings. These are sick. My favorite part of the game. First, we have the Persona gang in a pinch. This might be their first time in the villain's palace, or the second, and they hit a snag. Either the villain catches them at an inopportune time, or something similar. Their backs are against the wall. The villain has a stare down with a party member who currently doesn't have a persona, or has a direct connection with the villain. The villain affirms and reinforces the chains that bind that specific character. For Ryuji, it's Kamoshida relishing in the fact that the track team quickly was disbanded after Kamoshida broke Ryuji's leg. Our character fumbles. They let the villain get in their head, accepting the chains that were pinned on them. And then, there's the moment. The spark of rebellion. Standing up for themselves, they fight back. The realization that they don't have to be shackled by these stupid chains hits them, and they get pissed. They show their true colors, and because of this, they are bestowed the power of their personas. They literally rip off the masks that they're wearing, breaking those preconceived notions and those negative self-concepts, and instead fully accepting who they are and being proud of it. The truly beautiful moments. And I watch their awakening compilations multiple times on YouTube when I need just a boost of energy. And the awakenings aren't the only instance of these characters breaking their stereotypes and their self-concepts of themselves. That's what we have the social link / confidant scenes for. All of them own this idea of doubling down on the freedom that these characters have now and developing them after shedding their mask. We follow them on their ups and downs. Sometimes they might fall into a pit of despair again, but with the help of our input and Joker, we pick them back up, reinforcing them, letting them know that their quirks are what make them them, and telling them to never change. We form a different type of chain with them, one of trust, a faith, a chain of friendship. I mean, quite literally. When we acquire the new confidant, we have this flashy image of the tarot card the character pertains to, surrounded by chains, to symbolize that true friendship we have built with them. Even though I could do an analysis on each of these characters, and trust me, I would love to, I don't want to make another hour-long video again, so let's just stick with Haru Okumura. Haru is the daughter behind the president of Okumura Foods, which actually happens to be one of the targets of the Phantom Thieves. Upon infiltrating his palace, Haru goes fully against her father's wishes when his shadow self forces her to comply with his plans. Instead of the prim and proper Haru we're used to, we get an almost sadistic Haru, whose persona literally has guns under her dress. Have I talked about how much of the characters' personas are wonderful representations of themselves? So good. We uncover Haru's father's secrets and steal his heart, but he is, spoilers, murdered. With the company's CEO list, everything falls onto Haru. Executives try left and right to take advantage of her, to sell the stocks of the company, or insist on making decisions for the company themselves. And at first, Haru is overwhelmed. She's not sure what to do, because her whole life she's been raised to follow others' commands. But through her confidant, we help her find the confidence she needs to trust in her own instincts. She musters the courage to present her homegrown coffee beans and vegetables to the stand-in president, stating that she wants to change the company for the better. Impressed by Haru's gusto, Takakura even invites Haru to the next company-wide meeting, where she presents her idea to a resounding success. We found Haru, attached to her father and his company like a puppet on a string. But through our compassion and encouragement, we cut those ties. She decides to pursue her dreams in college and get the necessary education to open her own cafe chain. At the end of her confidant, she states, "If I act with resolve and believe in my actions, I know I'll be able to achieve anything." We help Haru double down on her own personal freedoms in her own voice, fully being able to make decisions on her own and be her own person. Every character has this type of realization. An fully accepts her beauty and instead of crumbling in front of it, she realizes that in order to be the best person that she can be, she's going to work harder and harder for it and be the best model that she wants to be. Yusuke is kind of the same way. He fully delves into his art and realizes that although there is pain in art and that there is suffering, there's also joy. They realize that the answer to surviving in this daunting world that we live in is to dodge all these negative self-concepts of who we are supposed to be and what we're supposed to be. The answer is to be you, to be yourself. Not a thing that someone thinks you should be, but you. And we see all of these characters recover and blossom into these beautiful versions of themselves, supporting each other in this found family archetype, making sure to bolster each other up. And it's even reflected brilliantly in the Persona 5 gameplay. First with the Confidant system, and how it rewards the player and party members for creating deeper bonds with those confidants. A great example being the status healing actions your party will make on their own once you get a high enough confidant level with them. Or how even a character helps out the party with their extracurricular activities. Yusuke's ability to duplicate skill cards, Haru's vegetable garden with HP and SP items, Kawakami's special massages. Yeah, that one's a little weird to me still. We even have the baton pass system in this game as well, building off Persona's One More system, which allows you to pass your turn over to another party member, giving them a damage boost. Persona 5 Royal goes even further, allowing you to hang out with your party members and play darts with them to increase the effectiveness of your baton pass. This game stresses the significance behind these relationships and rewards you for taking the time to build them, emphasizing support as a tool to help out others. And it couldn't have happened without you, the first chain you established. A chain that was made not to hold them back, but instead to support them whenever they fell through. And with the larger network of chains they establish and create with the rest of the party. We see this elegantly played out in the epilogue of the game. Joker, due to his crimes, is sent to jail, but through his friends' efforts and those he created bonds with, they built a special case, one that frees Joker from his sentence earlier than expected. Impressed by both our friends' convictions and our own, our Velvet Room helpers, Igor and Lavenza, gift us the World Arcana card, which usually bears the meaning of completion, achievement, and wholeness. Lavenza states, "With the world, you are no longer without a place to belong, and will never trudge a path alone again." We meet up with our friends, and although bittersweet, each has already made plans to go better themselves. Ryuji is going to go to a school near him that has a better physical therapy program, and is going to study abroad to experience other things. Both Haru and Makoto are going to head off to college to further their education. Yusuke is going to delve deeper into his work, and Futaba is even going to start attending school. Before leaving to head back to your hometown, you get the final chance to talk with most of them. Each reassures you that they have your back, because you helped them, and reflects on how far they've come. The things your confidants say to you in these moments are just so precious. I implore you to play the game just for their dialogue alone. My favorite comes from Yusuke. "You know, I am hoping to use the freedom of the heart as my next theme." We met all these characters at their lowest moments, struggling from the chains holding them back, denying them the chance to grow, no place to be themselves. But by the end, you all created this space together to thrive and grow. You created a world for all of you to live in. These outcasts who were shunned from society and pinned to be a specific type of person according to what the world deemed them as, instead choose to be themselves and themselves wholeheartedly. They're able to take on any challenge the world throws their way because they've broken free of the chains that bound them and have formed new ones that made them whole. It's truly beautiful. But where does that leave you and me? And every other person who lives on this planet? These characters are just that, characters. They have these predetermined paths that writers come up with, and all of their stories get resolved. That doesn't happen to us. Or does it? Persona 5 is a massive game, and I could talk about so many different things. Its inherent views of rebellion and anarchy as a solution to the corruption of the world, which were spurred on by the political system that was facing Japan at the time of its development. I could talk about its connection to the Chinese novel, Walter Margin, and its ties to Japanese crime movies. I could even talk about each and every character's personas and their ties to outlaws and vigilantes, but instead I want to talk about how Persona 5 changed me. People have already covered this, and I totally understand that I'm walking on already tread upon ground, but this game taught me so much. It inspired me to be myself and to fully embrace every quirky thing about me. It taught me to care for others. It taught me to look at the world around me not as a corrupted cesspool, but as a challenge, a game. Sure, I can't change the world like Joker and the Phantom Thieves did. I don't have this superpower that allows me to steal people's heart and make them change for the better, but what I do have is the power to inspire. The power to lift up hearts and to create small moments of bliss for not only myself, but also for others. Yeah, I'm not inspiring a generation, but my actions could inspire someone else's actions, who inspire someone else's actions that one day change the world. Who knows? I don't. But I'm not going to live my life chained down by the idea that I don't matter, that nothing I do will amount to anything. I'm sick of that notion. Do you know how powerful we are as people, as human beings? People run 100-mile-long races every year. We can lift over 6,000 pounds, and we can create beautiful pieces of art, whether it be a piece of visual art, a theater piece, a poem, a few words scattered on a napkin, or even a dumb YouTube video. We can do whatever we want to do, because we're us. Going back to that interview with Katsura Hashino, his last lines are, "I want players to come away from the game feeling like they have that power to take on the world around them and keep going in life." I think it was a combination of this game, but mostly my friends, that really changed my outlook on life in the past few years. Those wholesome chains I made with them, ones of support for both sides. We try to support each other in every avenue we can, whether it's with physical health, mental health, or helping with a stupid YouTube channel. I mean, we even signed up for a Spartan race and a 5K. I never thought in a million years as a child I would run in any competition. I was always overweight and was forced to believe that I couldn't do anything about it. But my friends showed me that I was wrong about myself. I did it. I went out there and was supported by them the whole entire time, and I did the same thing to them. No matter our skill level or how well we did in the race, we made sure to encourage each other, letting each other know that we had it. And we did. Beck mentions this therapist, Samuel Henry Cranes, who always concluded his explanations of depression with this: "The thing for you to remember is that this exhaustion can and will be overcome. You will need patience and you will need to cooperate. It won't be easy. It will take time, but you will recover." So I implore you to do the same thing. No matter how long it takes, be yourself. Don't be a shadow or a fraction of you. Be you. You are important, and every single ounce of you is what makes you, you. Don't let others put you down, and don't do the same with those others. Make sure they get as much love as you give yourself. Build those chains of friendship. Wake up and get out there.
Finish the Spartan race. Waiting on everybody here. Hey guys, that's the end of the video.
Yeah.
Like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you want. I'm so out of breath. I can't wait to eat a bag of pretzels after this.
Oh, I can't wait for some pretzels.
Peace.